Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, October 28th, and we are at the end of October already, and we're about to hit November, which is kind of crazy. The snow actually was flying yesterday. I don't know if you noticed, but it was rainy, snowy. It almost felt like Vancouver minus the snow. Very gloomy, and today it's another gloomy-ish day at the moment, but in Edmonton, Alberta, weather can change in a matter of minutes. So today I want to talk to you about what's been going on in the market. What does it mean for you if you're looking to move here from out of province or even within the province, but trying to move from Calgary to Edmonton for affordability. So let's take a look and see what's been happening in our real estate market. It's definitely a lot quieter out there. It's really difficult to find homes to look at. We're looking at just this very similar amount of listings on the market as we had last week, but just slightly lower. And when I've been out there looking at houses with clients, you're definitely taking a long time to find homes over five, 600,000. Yes, they move slower, but the clients that are out there, they can't find anything because the stuff that's out there is either overpriced or then it's gone. So even in the northeast side, we saw our listing move pretty quickly. We got sold right away. Like we had multiple offers, and then we just removed conditions yesterday. Well, not us, but the buyers. And so that one still had the regular scheduled program from what we're used to, where we list and then get an offer within a few days. Now, we had set our expectations to a more realistic tone that we wouldn't necessarily get an offer right away, hopefully maybe in the first 7 days. So I think that's a realistic mindset shift to make, is give yourselves more than a weekend, give yourselves a week. But however, if you do get offers within the weekend, do not delay and wait. It's just the expectation of, if nothing happened the first weekend, the sky's not completely fallen out yet, just give yourself some more time. So definitely a different market that we're playing in, and it's the fall market, which tends to get slower, especially at this time of year as we head into November, December. This is the time of year right now where I'm encouraging clients to have consults with us to plan for the new year, to plan for spring, to be ready, to be the first on the market before the whole bunch of them come on. And then buyers are able to find more homes. So if you're looking to move, is now the best time to look? Well, you see very little listings on the single family home here. In the new build world, there is a whole nother story. If you're looking to buy a new build home and you're thinking, what should I do? This is a perfect time. Now, why would you work with a realtor versus just going in on your own? It depends on the realtor that you work with. If the realtor is actually knowledgeable on homes, the quality, the construction, the process, there's actually value there. We go out with our clients, take a look and do some research, and then figure out what's the best option for our clients. And we walk through the whole process. So when you're looking to do research, it's not just the YouTube videos that you're watching, it's also real life experience. And by the end of this year, they want to meet quotas. And I'll tell you, their year has not been as good as it has been in the past, because guess what? The single family home world hasn't been as good. And you also know, when you see a ton of incentives coming out, it's a telltale sign that they going to have their tail between their legs. They definitely need to move some properties, and spec homes, of course, are going to move even faster. If you're custom building, they always can charge you a little bit more because they know they're building exactly what you want versus the homes that they've already started to spend money on. So if you take a look at the homes in terms of what went pending this last week, you'll be able to see that we had very similar to the week before. I feel like it's going to stay this. It might even get down to the 150s as the lowest. I don't think it's going to go too much lower. It's pretty consistent week over week in the quieter months. And then when you are in the higher months, we're in like the 250s, 300s. Which we won't probably see until spring market of next year. Now, you might think, how do we know spring market is going to do well next year? Well, no matter what the market we've had, we've always seen Edmonton do well in the March, April, May months, especially May being the hottest month, when we just look at the seasonal and we don't look at circumstantial year to year type of events. So obviously, we don't know what's going to be happening next year. The interest rates is an interesting story. A lot of people think that affects the market. And though it may have a factor, it definitely is not a deciding factor, because our rates were higher last year and we had higher sales. So go figure and do the math and the logic on that one. Now let's take a look at how many sold in the last week. So in the last 7 days, we had very similar sales from the week before, and in the surrounding areas, very much the similar story. So it's just a repeat week over week. And next week, I will be filming what happened in the month of October, which seems crazy. I feel like I just filmed what happened in the month of September. And so it's interesting to see what's been going on in our market every week. But then when we take a look at the month, we can kind of take a look in comparison. Now, definitely, I know we're moving into the final 2 months of the year, and there's not going to be that many sales coming to the market that will affect too much the price increase. And so you can see when we talk in the video in the next month, you'll see that I'm going to discuss where were we landing, where have we landed so far in terms of overall how much did the prices go up from last year, like beginning of January, until this year. Like, what are we looking at? Did it jump like it did? I know last year there was so much optimism, maybe over optimism, because the year before was already high. And then the fact that there was such a huge sale or influx again, that people had just high ambitions of what was going to happen this year. And it definitely did not. I unfortunately was correct. I did suspect that it was going to be a little bit lower this year, not as generous, but also not as low as we usually are. If you're looking to move here from out of town and you're wondering what the market normally is like, well, I don't know what normal is anymore. Because normal used to be a 1 to 2% increase. So you were never buying in Edmonton for the short play. You always had to buy in Edmonton for the long play. And if you were buying an investment property in Edmonton, the rental rates were so low that it didn't even make sense necessarily to pay your mortgage. Now things have changed. If you take a look at the rental market, a lot of people here use rentfaster.ca or a Facebook marketplace. You'll see that the market has changed, and the average rent price that you can get and the mortgage payment you can get depending on what you're putting down. Now, don't forget, investments are usually 20 to 25% minimum down payment. You're actually able to make some money and actually have some cash flow positive plus the long-term equity growth. Now, we don't have the 1 to 2% increase. We're actually looking in the last few years, we've been around 10% every year, which I don't think will continue to go year over year. I think we had that kind of spike and then it kind of stayed a little bit, and I think it'll keep going, but it's going to just be a little bit more, not flatlined, but definitely not as steep of a curve as we've seen in the last few years. So I think it's really important that when you're making a decision to move here, yep, it's more affordable. But don't forget, we are not Toronto. Sometimes I worry about people buying here thinking, if I just buy this house, one day it's going to be $1 million, just like Toronto. And if you're buying a house for 400,000, it's a long climb for that $400,000 house to be $1 million. And so from someone who lives here, born and raised here, been in real estate for almost 2 decades, I really don't see that 400,000 will hit up to $1 million. The biggest increase we saw back in 2007 was the biggest spike I ever saw, because our first home was a bungalow we bought in 2004 for $186,000. So that's a bungalow that was 1,300 square feet in the McQueen neighborhood. So, in a basement. It was unfinished. No, it was finished partially, had wood paneling. And we put in a bathroom down in the basement, a bigger bathroom. The garage was not a double, it was a carport, had space for a double. And that house then in 2009, so let's see, 2004 to 9, so 5 years, it had that increase because of the '07 peak. It more than doubled. And now that same house that was 186 in 2004 is now maybe high fours, maybe low fives, just to be generous. So like, let's just say for math's sake, $300,000 increase. So, but that was unheard of to have a house that low. You can't even buy a condo, really. Well, you can, but not like that, right? So you can't really compare the 2004 growth, like pre-2007 to now, because from 2007 to now, that increase hasn't actually gone up that much. So from 2009, that I think we got like in the fours, like let's say 400 for it. From 2009 to 2025, it's maybe gone up 80 grand. So you see what I mean? Like there was a big increase in 2007. We had peak markets in the last little bit, but definitely, yes, high amount of sales, lots of multiple offers, lots of homes selling for, 30K over. When people say that the home sold for 50 to 80K over, a lot of times it had to do with the price was a little maybe too low, or there really was a huge high demand, but they're kind of like one-offs. They're not like consistently across the board all homes in Edmonton sold for 50,000 or 100,000 over list. I actually have not seen that over 100K um, kind of phenomenon that like Vancouver and Toronto have seen. So that's something just to consider too when you move. When you move here, you're not dealing with the land transfer tax. Now, Edmonton, Alberta has increased their closing costs since all this migration has come over, because closing costs used to be around $1,000 or a little under, and now I would say they're closer to 1,500 to 2,000, but nothing compared to the tens of thousands that people pay in BC and Ontario. So when you're looking to move, don't forget you could either add that to your budget to buy a home, or you can just save all that much more money when you are purchasing. So it's interesting to see the market continually changing and shifting. It is some realtors are saying it's a complete buyer's market, and I don't agree. I think it actually is a balanced market. We did not swing from one side to the other. It's definitely more balanced because we have to be more reasonable on both sides. It's not like, okay, buyers have all the power now, they can lowball and they're winning. We're definitely not at that stage. And I think that being in a balanced market is a good place to be once everyone realizes they are there. But the hard part is the transition, when sellers were used to getting their way and have very high expectations. And then because sellers were able to do that, buyers are just longing to get sweet vengeance and be on the other side. But we're really in the middle. So we're just trying to adjust everyone's expectations, buyers' expectations, sellers' expectations, to kind of understand like what the real market is now. So if you have any questions next week, hopefully things will be, my computer has been having funny issues in terms of how I can access things, but make sure you tune in and let me know what are the communities that you're most interested in. We're going to do a kind of drive along 87th Ave in Edmonton from the old to the new in our YouTube videos, as you're going to start to see more and more of our videos come back in the terms of the recorded videos. So if you've come here because you've seen an old video from a long time ago, you're going to start to see some new ones. We put one out last week, and it's everything that you need to know about moving here. So make sure you take a watch of that video, and it talks about a whole bunch of things about Edmonton. But we're going to go and deep dive into those areas in these videos to come, where we're really diving deep. And then each week on Tuesdays live, let me know if you have any questions from them, and we can dive into the neighborhoods in even more specifics. So we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.